So this is a video on how to repair the NE58F9710WS from Samsung. I want to put a disclaimer out. I am not a handyman. Do this at your own risk. At the end of the day, we all want to save a little bit of money, and fixing things yourself is the way to do that. The first thing you want to do before you do any type of work is you want to make sure you shut off the power, shut off the breaker. Make sure you follow all safety rules. So one of the issues that I had a problem with was my triple burner on my Samsung stopped working. So if you're familiar with this, you know that on the right hand side of the burner, there's the biggest burner, and the outer rim for me stopped working. So the inner element and the middle element was working fine. The outer element stopped working. In order to fix that, you need to remove the glass top to replace that element. So this video will go into the procedures on how to do that.
So once you open the oven door, there are 4 screws underneath the panel. These screws need to be removed before you can remove the faceplate off of the range. Okay, so at this point in time, we're going to pull out the range. There's multiple screws on the back that need to be removed. As you see, I start unscrewing them, and you can easily pull up on the panel to see which ones need to be removed. Once the screw is out, you're going to lift up on the panel and ease it out. Now that the panel is out, you can rest it on the handle of the oven, and there's 2 screws that you need to unscrew on either side of the glass top. You unscrew the screws, put them back in the same place where you got them from, or a safe place where you can find them. There's 2 connectors, one on the far left and one on the far right, that you have to remove. There's one in the middle. You do not have to touch that. Just remove the one on the far left and the far right to be able to remove the glass top. So at this point, the glass top is loose. The screws in the back and the screws in the front are off. So now at this point, I am looking at the real estate that I have. I'm going to position the front knob control panel so that it's really firm down on the oven handle so it doesn't move, because at this point I'm going to take the glass top and flip it over, resting the glass bottom down on the range. I suggest to use a towel underneath it. I did not, but you probably should use a towel underneath it to protect the glass. During this procedure, I did not have any problems doing this, but I suggest that you use a soft towel. Okay, so at this point the panel is flipped over. There are 4 screws on each side to remove and 2 in front. Okay, at this point all the screws are removed, so I'm lifting up the panel and I'm going to use a broom to prop it up so that I can work. Sort of like the hood of a car. I'm propping it up so that I can work. I'm going to be replacing the triple element, and so to do that, the first thing you have to do is there's like a wire holder. So I'm removing that, and I'm going to move the wire to the side. Okay, so right here you can see I'm bringing the new element, the replacement element, into the screen, and I'm comparing it. I'm making sure that it has similar connections and similar orientation. I'm taking a look at the connection points and making sure they're the same. Now there's a bracket that's holding the elements together, so I'm going to remove the screws from that to loosen it up. And that's going to allow us to remove the tabs. There's tabs, metal tabs that are holding it onto it. Removing that bracket will allow us the play to remove those tabs to let it slide down. So at this point, I decided to pull the element further out to work with it. I was trying to remove the connections while it was in place, but I found that it was easier to just remove it, slide the wires out, flip it over, and then work with it that way. So I'm going to show up a close-up of the wiring. Your wiring may be a little bit different, but the key things to note is where the original wiring is. What I suggest you to do is to take a picture. Keep in mind that on the element there are some labels, 1A, 2A, and 1B, 2B, and you just need to make sure that those line up with the connections that resemble on your element. Okay, as you can see, I'm taking care to remove the wires. You want to make sure that you grab them from the end points where they make the connection and pull on them, and not the wires themselves. You do not want to break the connection by pulling on the wire. So make sure you're pulling on the actual clip in, the metal clip in, to pull it out.
So in the video, you see me transferring the clips that were on the back of here. So as you can see, there was a clip here, notice by the hole, at the 6, and a clip here at 42. See the hole, the puncture hole. The rest of the holes are gonna be not punctured. So I transferred the clips the same as where they were on the original to the new element. And then you also have to make sure that when you're connecting everything back up, that you connect everything the same. So for instance, some of these may be different, but if you have the right one, it still will be labeled. So if you can see here, it says 1A, 1B, and then 2A, 2B. So you just got to make sure that when you're making the connections, that those connections match up to the same, even if there's in a different configuration. And then of course, you transfer the same with these same colors. Side coil was is broken on this one. If you could zoom in right there, broken in between, and so the outside coil was not working. See, preventing the outside element from working. This is a triple element burner, so it has 3 zones: the middle, medium range, and then the outside. So for us, the outside was not working, and that was a procedure on how to replace it.
So at this point, the new element is in. The connections are connected up as they originally was. I went ahead and clipped them back in to the bracket. You have to make note of where the bracket pins came out of. Mine specifically were out of D, so I just made sure they were back there and then screwed it back down in the bracket. So right now I'm just making sure that all the wires are all the way in and nice and tight. So at this point, I'm ready to close up. I'm checking now to make sure everything is aligned, everything is tucked in, making sure the ground wire for the connection is good, and then I'm going to reassemble it as I took it apart. Now at this point, all the screws are back in. I flipped the glass top back over and lined it up, and I'm about to start making the connection. Okay, at this point, the front panel is back on. I'm about to turn the power on to test it. Before I do the final button up of the back panel, I'm going to test the burner now to make sure that all three elements work. Remember, this is a triple triple element burner, so in my case, the outer ring was not working. So of course, that's the first thing I want to check. So once I made sure that the burner that I replaced was working, it was a good idea to check all the other burners to make sure that they're good to go. Since we were working on the back of the panel, just want to make sure that everything is still good to go. Okay, so everything tested good. I'm going to put the 4 screws in the control panel, turn it around back, and putting the screws in the back part of the panel. Once you're done, you're going to plug it in, push it back into place, and turn back on the breaker. And that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing now. I want to thank everybody for watching my video. Subscribe, like, and comment below. Thank you. This is for all the DIYers out there.